Are your fears limiting you? Do your limits define you, or you are defining your limits? Are you aware of your birthright of being abundant in all areas of your life? Or are your thoughts generally focused on what you don't have, or they are focused on what you do already have? Welcome to another episode of the Black Swan Mindset. My name is Bella, and I'm gonna help you shift the only domino piece that truly matters, your mindset. In today's episode, we are going to tackle a very popular topic, and I'm going to share with you the 5 main steps that are going to help you transition from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. But first, let's try to understand what a scarcity mindset is and why it's important to overcome it. We may blame social archetypes or cultural differences or media or even our family members and partners for every single failure or for each missed opportunity. We may blame them for our fears, for our disempowering beliefs, for our negative perceptions, or our hardship. But the truth is that one of the biggest mistakes we all made at a certain point throughout our lives was to embrace denial and to refuse to take responsibility for a certain outcome. And I understand how it can be difficult to become completely honest with ourselves and acknowledge the real stage we are in, as we may analyze our journeys and conclude that abundance was never really an option for us. But during the process of getting to that specific conclusion, we tend to overlook our patterns of thinking, and most of the times we are not even aware of those patterns. We just act automatically based on our previous experiences. And without even realizing it, we repeat history over and over again, as we may have different opportunities, but we implement the same pattern of thinking, making the same choices, and therefore we end up having the same results. So let's say that you've been growing up in a family that was struggling to make ends meet, or perhaps you've been around people who experience financial distress. Maybe you've experienced rejection and failure, or loss and betrayal, or perhaps you've been surrounded by people or colleagues that were extremely competitive and selfish, or judgmental, or maybe you developed this idea that there is only one option for you, only one job, only one chance to get that promotion, or that house, or a specific car, or a certain partner, and if you miss it, it's end game for you. And due to similar experiences, either lived by ourselves or witnessed at those around us, plenty of times we tend to develop unconsciously a scarcity mindset, a mindset where we consider that there's not enough resources, time, money, energy, opportunities, or love for every single one of us. A mindset where we are constantly focusing on what is lacking in our lives. A mindset where we get drawn in a comparison trap of what others have and we don't. Or a mindset where we tend to measure our value according to our income or belongings. And there is where our lives are starting to go downhill, as we operate from a complete fear-based perspective. Therefore, let's try to explore together how we can overcome this fearful pattern of thinking and transition from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. So let's get started. First step, acknowledge your fears. And you may wonder, what is the connection between your fears and your ability to manifest abundance? So let me share with you a little secret. Your subconscious mind loves receiving instructions that are coming through the path of least resistance, meaning that your thoughts, your feelings, and your approach towards whatever you are asking for or whatever you want to manifest in your life needs to be in complete harmony with each other. So for example, let's say that you would like to manifest a certain amount of money and you really want it, but in the same time, deep down, you are afraid of the responsibility this money will bring. You are afraid to manage them. You are scared of how this amount will change your life. Or perhaps you are afraid of how people close to you will change after receiving this amount. And all this resistance to change is being perceived by your subconscious mind. And as your subconscious mind wants to keep you safe, he will avoid bringing in your life anything that can make you feel unsafe or hurt, anything that will make you experience stress, anxiety, depression, frustration, or procrastination. And the main cause of those conditions comes from a fearful pattern of thinking. Now, this fearful pattern of thinking might have been created in your childhood or during a trauma or as a result of a disappointing experience. But regardless of your fears and the way they have been formed, you can always let them go because they are not a life sentence. They are just obstacles that you need to overcome in order to grow. And how do you know if you are operating from a fearful perspective? Whenever you are focusing on what's lacking in your life, ask yourself, what is stopping me from appreciating whatever I already have in my life? When something or someone is getting you out of your comfort zone, do you feel irritated because you are afraid of change? When you don't feel valued and appreciated in your workplace, but you say to yourself, it's okay, it pays bills. Are you scared of making a shift in your career? When you want to manifest a certain amount of money in your life, but nothing is happening, ask yourself, I know how to handle poverty or a decent lifestyle, but can I really manage to handle what I'm asking for? And if you don't feel ready for all the abundance and wealth you desire, continue by questioning yourself if you are open and willing to learn how to handle all that wealth and abundance. Or, when you are hearing the same phrase, fear and abundance, which word sounds familiar to you or resonates with you more? And on this last question, try to discern between the desire of being abundant and the awareness of being abundant, as well as distinguishing the denial of being afraid from the acceptance of being afraid. And by understanding the real reason that lies beyond your frustrations, your regrets, your struggles, and your hardship, you will be able to identify what is really holding you back. You will comprehend the approach you've been taking all these years, and you will become aware of a certain part of you that has been leading your life without you even realizing it. So how can you overcome your fears and embrace an abundant mindset? Start by being honest with yourself and understand what are you actually afraid of. Further on, try to accept and embrace your fears, as they are not your enemies, but rather your teachers in learning how to improve yourself by overcoming your limits. Then, try to comprehend that fears are formed due to a lack of self-confidence and self-esteem. And the less you believe in yourself and value yourself, or the more helpless you feel, the more power your fears have over you. And ultimately, learn to take risks and to accept responsibility for your outcomes, as at the end of the day, you and only you are deciding what is worth focusing on. And when you will understand how your fears have influenced your decisions, your choices, and your pattern of thinking, you will let them go, as they don't serve you anymore, and you will start focusing on what truly matters, and that is the development of your real self. Now let's go further to the second step. Say goodbye to your victimizing self. When you are going through a trauma, or a breakup, or you have lost your job, or your business become insolvent, you are experiencing heightened emotions, and then you feel the need to express those emotions, sometimes verbally and other times by creating different habits through which either you choose to numb yourself, punish yourself, or retaliate against a particular situation or certain people. Either way, on a specific level, you are considering yourself a victim of your circumstances, your misfortune, your lack of opportunities, or a victim of social differences and social biases. Now, during that time, you are expressing a victim's behavior, and you create a story about that specific experience, which you are using as proof, as excuse, or as an argument of your current circumstances. And you tell yourself that story, and you tell your friends that story, and you share with your family members the same story, until that specific story becomes a part of your identity. So after a certain period, you find yourself telling the same story and having the same feelings that you have experienced during that moment when it all happened. And deep down, you want to share another story and move on because you don't resonate with it anymore. But for the last couple of weeks or months or even years, you have been feeding your subconscious mind with the same information over and over again. And now your thoughts and feelings are revolving around that experience, and you feel stuck and unable to get out of that unhealthy circle. And the truth is that an emotional, mental, or spiritual wound requires the same time for healing as a physical one, or sometimes even longer. So how can you overcome a victim's behavior and detach yourself from it? Whenever you are having a less pleasant experience and you feel hopeless and hurt, tell yourself, I've been hurt, disappointed, or I have failed, and I'm going to give myself the necessary time to heal. And after that, check with yourself regularly by asking, how long will this behavior be appropriate for me in order to let go of all the pain and the suffering? What feelings do I need to release so I can heal? Who do I need to forgive in order to move on? Or How much time do I need to heal completely? And by becoming aware of the answers, you will discover your power to heal. You will comprehend that no trauma or suffering is eternal. You will increase your self-esteem and self-worth as you will realize that regardless of what you have been through, you have survived. You are still breathing, you are healing, and you are a warrior in your very own unique way. And then the acceptance of overcoming those dark times will strengthen your self-confidence and will allow you to let go of your fears as you will become aware that being a victim was temporary, but overcoming that stage and becoming the best version of yourself is permanent if you choose to. Now let's go further to the third step. Have an identity check. Now, after you have detached yourself from your victim mentality, it's time to have an identity check. And you may wonder, why do you need one? As you have let go of your fears and you have given yourself the necessary time to heal. But the truth is that your mind can still play tricks in bringing back memories or feelings associated with a less pleasant event. And in order to overcome that situation, we need to offer our subconscious mind new information. And now is the time when you can create a new story, an empowering story, a story that focuses on the warrior version of yourself and less on the victim version, a story that focuses on your strengths and your ability to overcome any struggles, hardship, or failures you may encounter, a story in which you are the hero who managed to defeat all the monsters, and by understanding the lessons of your experiences, you have succeeded to grow and to improve yourself. And how can you lead an empowering identity check? Start by asking yourself, who am I really? Or, now that I have overcome all that pain and suffering, now that I have healed, now that I have detached myself from my victim mentality, who have I become? Now that I am aware of the fact that plenty of resources, opportunities, friends, love, health, wealth, and abundance are available for me as well, what action am I going to take? Now that I have realized that I was the only one holding me back, what changes I will make in order to pursue my dreams? Or what story I would like to share with my family members or friends? Or perhaps what story I would like to identify myself with? And remember that the answers you will obtain after questioning yourself are the answers that will help you to shift into a new empowering version of yourself. At first, it might surprise you how much you have changed, but telling yourself regularly an amazing empowering story about yourself and identifying yourself with that story will create wonders for your subconscious mind and will attract in your life all the right people, situations, and opportunities that will reconfirm your progress and your continuous development. The fourth step: set achievable goals. You may think that you don't need to set new goals, as all your life you wanted to attract abundance, and now that's finally possible. But what you should understand is that before, due to your scarcity mindset or due to your victim mentality, every intentional desire you had was blocked by your fearful pattern of thinking. Now you have the ability to start fresh. You can set new or similar goals and you can achieve those goals because this time You are projecting positive feelings upon the materialization of those goals. This time, you are not trying to attract whatever you desire in your life from a fear-based perspective, from a conditioned perspective, or from a limited perspective. Now, you are attracting whatever you want in your life from a love-based perspective, from a healthy level of self-confidence perspective, from a gratitude perspective, and from a perspective that embraces change. Now you know that you have the same right as anybody else to experience a life full of abundance, health, wealth, joy, opportunities, and success. Now you are aware of the fact that life isn't happening to you, but is rather happening for you, for your growth, for your development, and for your transformation. Now you realize that regardless of what the future may be like, you are strong enough, brave enough, experienced enough, and worthy enough to overcome whatever you may encounter. And now you know what you are capable of and what you can achieve. As at this moment in time, you acknowledge that there's nothing holding you back. It's just you and your goals. Now let's go to the fifth step. Take real, focused action. Any change will first start on the inside. But in order for that change to be implemented and tangible, she needs to be continued and completed on the outside, meaning that you need to learn how to take a real focused action toward your goals and your dreams. A goal or a dream without a realistic action plan is going to be just that, a simple goal. But if you create a realistic, achievable, and focused action plan towards that specific goal, nothing can literally prevent you from achieving it. The key in manifesting and attracting whatever you desire in your life is represented by your willingness and openness to take the necessary steps in that specific direction, to understand that nothing can be created without putting the necessary time and effort into it, to become aware of the fact that sometimes plans can change and can be adjusted, and to keep going regardless of how many obstacles you could face. As of now, you have become aware of the fact that obstacles are not there to stop you, but they rather appear to challenge you, to help you discover yourself and your abilities, and to make you aware of your capability to overcome them. So how can you take real focused action? Start by setting an achievable goal, perhaps a new career choice, or attracting your soulmate, or maybe manifesting that amazing life you've been dreaming about. Further on, list the steps that you need to take in order to achieve your goal. Next, add your current resources and skill set. Then, explore how you can use those resources and skill set in order to reach your goal. Afterward, ask yourself what other resources or skills are needed for this process to be completed. Furthermore, train your subconscious mind to recognize opportunities that can enable you to achieve your goal. And last but not least, keep your eyes on the ball, meaning that you should always have the end goal in mind and follow those steps one by one until the completion of your goal. And once you have reached your goal, you will experience an amazing boost in your self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-worth. You will appreciate yourself more. You will trust yourself more, and you will be opened to endless opportunities. And as your vibration will increase, so will your quality of life. So in order to summarize, the 5 main steps in transitioning from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset are: acknowledge your fears, say goodbye to your victimizing self, have an identity check, set realistic goals, and take real focused action. Sometimes we may feel trapped, and we might consider that our circumstances and our reality are never going to change. But what you should try to understand is that health, wealth, abundance, happiness, and success are always beyond the physical pain, beyond the mental clutter, beyond your soul's shadows, and beyond your victory in overcoming your fears and obstacles. You always have the power to set your own limitations. So raise the bar, as you cannot have whatever you are not willing to become vibrationally. I hope you have enjoyed this podcast, and if you found it useful, please give it a like or share it with someone dear. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, remember that by shifting your mindset, you can change your reality. Enjoy the journey.